Welcome back to the second lesson of the Memory Mastery course. In this lesson, we're going to be covering myths around memory. So by the end of this lesson, you'll realize that many truths about your memory are in fact exactly what they are, myths. And like anything, it is easy to improve when you know how. So the learning points for this lesson are quite short. We'll be covering the 5 myths about memory straight away. And then, of course, a common question, how long will it take for you to see results? So myth 1, I'm too old. The amount of times when I do corporate talks and the 30-plus-year-olds say, this would be great if I was a student. What we need to understand is, yes, we hear of kids all the time being able to speak 5 languages or being able to learn a new sport. But as we get older, we get used to learning. We acquire skills and methods that work for us. We've gone through the process of education and we understand how we learn. So when it comes to learning something new, we have a massive toolbox, even if we don't think about it, of pre-existing knowledge of how to learn. So in fact, the older you are, the better you are at learning something new because you're used to the process of learning something. Myth 2. I have a bad memory. Self-talk is extremely powerful. Imagine your brain as a supercomputer, and the self-talk that you say to yourself every day is the program that it runs. So if you say you have a bad memory, well, guess what? You'll forget the next person's name you meet. However, if I say to you, I would give you £500 to remember the next person's name, well, I bet you £500 you'll remember that name. And this is for 2 reasons, motivation and priority. Motivation. I've incentivized you with £500. Now, if someone is of importance, and you know this already when you meet them, you'll remember their name more so than someone in a group that you've quickly been introduced to, and now it's on to the next person. You need to motivate yourself to remember people's names. Not just names, but any important bit of data. And this comes to point number 2, priority. Our brain prioritizes things that are important. So of course, if someone tells us their bank PIN number so we can get some cash out, nothing else will distract us for that window where we need to get cash out. That PIN number is going to be high priority and not many things are going to come above it. So we need to know how that brain works so we can hack it, so we can improve our everyday memory. Myth number 3. I don't want to remember that because my memory is limited. This comes back to the priority bias. The idea that don't talk to me, don't tell me that information because I'll forget what I need to remember. You're probably relying on rehearsal. You know when someone gives you a long digit and you're like, okay, 476, 476, 476, and then you try and remember the next chunk, 872, 872, 872. Now if you're lucky and someone hasn't interrupted you for a second, you'll remember it. Chances are, though, something will distract you and you'll forget that digit. What you need to understand is our memory to date, researchers have not found its limited capacity. This may have changed within 5 years' time, but for now, they haven't found a limit on the memory. So do not worry about putting aside non-relevant things. The problem comes when we struggle with retrieval. And we'll be talking about that in the next lesson. Myth number 4. People with good memories never forget. Wow, the amount of times I forget something and someone says, wait a minute, don't you teach memory training? Shouldn't you not forget that? And there's a common saying that the shoemaker often goes barefoot. It's the idea that as quote unquote experts in our field, we are so caught up in teaching that we forget to apply the techniques ourselves. The thing is, no one has a perfect memory. We all forget things. What we need to know is why do we forget and limit the amount of times we do forget. So do not worry. Unfortunately, this course will not cure you of your forgetfulness, but it will give you techniques and tools and show you how to apply them to learn new skills. And finally, myth 5. You have a good memory if you can remember, and this is the current record, 70,030 digits of pi. Memory is all relative. You need to understand that knowing that many digits of pi, is that going to improve your lifestyle? Some would say yes, but I would happily argue no. Memory, like anything, is a skill, and this is why the course is ran with it being applied to real-world examples. It is pointless understanding the ins and outs of the brain and then teaching you how it works, when actually, I just want to show you the practical sense, and then if you want further reading, you'll be able to find that at the end of each chapter. So Jordan, how long will it take for me to improve my memory? The good question is, you can start today. About 15 minutes of deliberate practice each day for at least 21 days has shown to have significant results. So when I say deliberate training, I mean not getting distracted for those 15 minutes. You are dedicating your time on practicing and rehearsing the memory challenges in the upcoming weeks. So to recap, we've covered the 5 most common myths. There's many others, and I'm sure you have some yourselves, and feel free to chuck them into the Facebook group. If you haven't already, search StudyFast Private Mastermind into Facebook and share some myths that you've heard before. And I'm sure myself and other students would be happy to try to dispel them and shine light upon them. And of course, we've covered how long it is to see results. Instantaneously. It's all about dedicating yourself. The more time and effort you apply to improving your memory, the quicker you'll see results. Time for the fun fact. The brain makes up about 2% of the body's total weight, as we know from the last lesson. But it uses a massive 20% of the body's total energy and oxygen intake, which is crazy. And this is why we have to look after that little precious thing upstairs. Until next time, I've been John Harry. Keep reading fast and remembering more.